Good morning. Good morning. This is the plenary speech of Professor Imre Rudas. All this material was created by Professor Rudas, but because he had a problem and he is not with us today, I present this lecture, but all the credits belong to Professor Rudas because Professor Rudas has sent this PDF to us by email. Okay. So, John von Neumann was one of the most influential mathematicians who has ever lived. He was born in 1903 and he passed away very young in the age of 54 in 1957. If you study mathematics, if you study computer science, if you study theoretical physics, then you know very well the name of von Neumann. This is the reason that our conference is dedicated to the 120 years from the birth of John von Neumann. Who was John von Neumann? According to economists, Neumann was the one person with an IQ 200. According to a study of economists, the number of humans that have ever lived is 100 billions. IQ of 200 is 1 per 76 billions. So, for 76 billions human beings, only one has IQ 200. And one of them is von Neumann. So, this is extremely rare, of course. So, there is no one alive, never, that was smarter than von Neumann, or even close to him. Likely the most intelligent person to have ever lived. Peter David Lax, if you have relation with differential equations, maybe you have heard about David Lax, is a Hungarian-born American mathematician and Abel Prize laureate, working in the areas of pure and applied mathematics. What he says: to gain a measure of von Neumann's achievement, consider that had he lived a normal span of years, he would certainly have been a recipient of a Nobel Prize in economics, and if there were Nobel Prizes in computer science and mathematics, he would have been honored by this. So, should be thought of us a triple Nobel laureate, of possibly of 3.5 Nobel Prizes for his work in mathematics, in physics, in algorithms, in economics, in computer science, and quantum mechanics. You know, for example, that today the scholars produce many papers, and it is difficult, for example, for a mathematician to know all the mathematics. Maybe a very, very good mathematician knows 1% or 0.1% of mathematics. The impressive is that von Neumann in his era knew 28% of mathematics of all branches, theoretical, numerical, applied, etc. There is a famous story involving von Neumann told by Peter Lax. At one point in his causal conversation, von Neumann remarked that in the old days, one would really understood all the mathematics there was, but at that time, this was no longer the case. This prompts someone to ask, how much mathematics can one know today? from other source, not from Peter Lacks, that someone asked him what percent of mathematics he knew. So von Neumann then fell into a characteristic trance of several seconds, indicated he was making a detailed calculation. He emerged and said 28%. Rosa Peter told that most mathematicians prove what they can, but von Neumann proves what he wants. Enrico Fermi, well known from physics, told to his student Herb Anderson, you knew Herb, John von Neumann, can do calculation in his head 10 times as fast as I can, and I can do them 10 times as fast as you can. So calculations without computer, without pens, only by head, was 100 faster with John von Neumann than the Anderson, the student of Enrico Fermi. Look some other thing. Henry Ford had ordered a dynamo, okay, electricity, for one of his plants. The dynamo didn't work, and not even the manufacturers could figure out why. A Ford employee, Ford company for the cars, told his boss that von Neumann was the smartest man in America. So only one man could explain why this dynamo does not work. And they invited von Neumann. Von Neumann looked at the figures, at the schematics, and he found the solution. He found the solution. He marked a line on the outside casing and said, if you will go inside and cut the coil here, the dynamo will work fine. They cut the coil and the dynamo did work fine. Ford then told von Neumann to send him a bill for his work. Von Neumann sent Ford a bill for $5,000. Maybe $5,000 at that time is like today $500,000. If you calculate the inflation of the last 80 years. Ford was astonished. $5,000 was a lot in the 1940s and asked von Neumann for an itemized account. The von Neumann replied, $1 for drawing the line with my pencil and $499 because I discovered where we had to draw the line. The military needed to solve a difficult problem. They were going to build a multi-million-dollar computer to find the solution. They hired von Neumann to help design the computer. They organized a seminar where experts on the problem would tell all they knew to von Neumann. Instead of designing the computer, von Neumann solved the problem and no new computer was needed. You understand? They had the army of the United States had a very difficult problem, and they invited all these scientists to create a new computer to solve the difficult problem, but it was not necessary because von Neumann solved it without computer. Maybe you know the fly puzzle and von Neumann response. You have a cyclist here, and another cyclist here, he goes from here to this direction with 10 miles per hour velocity, and the other also 10 miles per hour, but a fly travels with 15 miles per hour. So when one cyclist will meet the other cyclist, fly will be killed. But the question is, how many kilometers will the fly run? Of course, there is one solution with series here, infinite series like this, but von Neumann told it's very simple. Instead of have 10, if we consider this, the velocity is 10 miles per hour, and the velocity is of this cyclist is 10 miles per hour, we can consider that this cyclist travels with 20 miles per hour, and this is constant. So 20 miles per hour, this distance, which is 20 miles, means that cyclist needs 1 hour. Okay, in 1 hour, the flight travels 15 miles. So instead of solving this difficult problem, he gave this answer. The original name of John von Neumann was Neumann Janos Lajos. He was born in December 28 of 1903 in Budapest, Hungary. This is the reason that Professor Rudas, who is professor in Budapest, was invited to come to give this presentation, and it was to come, but for some problem of the last minute, he did not come, and these transparencies belong to Professor Rudas. He died in February 8 of 1957, age 53 or 54. You will ask why did he die so young? You will see. His parents, this is von Neumann when he was a child. His brothers here in these photos. One brother mathematician, the other brother is was engineer, etc., etc. Some details where is his town here, here, okay. His mother was Can Margit. 3 generations of the family of his mothers were mathematicians. The house of von Neumann and a plaque, commemorative plaque outside the house. Some details here. Look, something very important. At 6 years old, he could divide 2 8-digit numbers in his head without computer, without calculator. When he was 6 years old, he could divide 2 8-digit numbers and could convert the result in ancient Greek system of numbering, A, beta, gamma, delta, etc. When they were young, von Neumann and his brothers and his cousins were taught in English, French, German, and Italians. Photographic memory. The Neumann family sometimes entertained guests with demonstrations of John's, von Neumann, ability to memorize phone books. A guest could select a page and a column of the phone book at random. Young John read the column over a few times, then handed the book back to the guest. He could answer any question put to him, who has numbers such and such, or recite names, addresses, and number in order. For example, they gave to him this page. He looked this page for some minutes, and after that, they say to him in the third telephone, in the first column, who was the owner. By the age of 8, von Neumann was familiar with differential and integral calculus. By 12 years old, he had read and understood Borel's theory of functions. He was also interested in history, reading his way through Wilhelm Oken's 46-volume world history series. In some of the next transparencies, Professor Rudas writes that sometimes he was driving by car, and when he was driving, he was also reading. And of course, he had some accidents. Yes. If you want, I can send you this PDF by email. Here we have his university studies. ETH, Zurich, in September 1923. He graduated as a chemical engineer from ETH, Zurich. What does it mean to me? Does it mean to us? That means that he was not also excellent in mathematics, but also in applied sciences. Okay, and he received diploma in chemical engineering. Some mathematics says that I am only pure mathematicians. I don't want to study chemistry, electricity, and these things are very applied. No, he studied everything. Very good comments from George Polya, that was a Hungarian mathematician, there about John von Neumann. There was a seminar for advanced students in Zurich that I was teaching, and von Neumann was in the class. I came to a certain theorem, and I said, it is not proved. It may be difficult. Von Neumann did not say anything, but after 5 minutes, he raised his hand. When I called on him, he went to the blackboard and proceeded to write down the proof. So he solved a problem, an unsolved problem, to his teacher. When his teacher stated the problem, in 5 minutes, von Neumann gave the proof. This is what George Polya says. Later, von Neumann entered Pázmány Péter University in Budapest as PhD candidate in mathematics. He passed his final examinations for his PhD with minors in experimental physics and chemistry. PhD studies. Later, he went to the University of Göttingen on a grant from the Rockefeller Foundation to study mathematics under David Hilbert. Hilbert spaces. He was good mathematician, but excellent, of course, but he had as teachers not random persons, like Hilbert, David Hilbert. Von Neumann Fellowship applications to the International Education Board, the Auditorium Maximum at the University of Göttingen, various steps of his career. Here is a photo with Albert Einstein. In 1933, von Neumann accepted a tenured professorship at the Institute for Advanced Study in New Jersey. He became one of the original 6 professors in 1933 of the newly founded Institute of Advanced Study in Princeton. In 1938, the American Mathematical Society awarded the Bocher Prize to John von Neumann for his memoir, Almost Periodic Functions and Groups. This was published in 2 parts in the Transactions of the American Mathematical Society, the first part in 1934 and the second part in 1935. Private life. Catholic, was baptized Catholic in 1930. He made 2 marriages. His first wife was Marietta Kovesi, who had studied economics at Budapest University. With her, he had a daughter with name Marina, but they divorced in 1937. 1 year later, exactly 1 year later, von Neumann married Clara Dunn. She was a Hungarian-American mathematician self-taught engineer and computer scientist, and one of the first programmers of this era. Some photos for von Neumann. Von Neumann and his wife and his beautiful dog. I don't know which wife is this, the first or the second. Von Neumann enjoyed Yiddish and dirty jokes. He was non-smoker. He liked German march music on the gramophone, and he disturbed the neighbors in America, like Einstein, etc. Despite being a bad driver, he loved driving, often while reading books, leading to various arrests and accidents. Von Neumann lived a rather unusual lifestyle for a mathematician, as described by von Neumann and Halmos. Parties and nightlife held a special appeal for von Neumann. While teaching in Germany, von Neumann had been a denizen of the cabaret-era Berlin nightlife circuit. He was inside everything of the life. Contribution in the science. Many things. When they were in America with the other famous scientists, Hungarian science, they called them with the nickname Martians because of the extraordinary sound of their native language used when talking to each other. Some details here. Publications. This is important. Look here in what science von Neumann has contributed. Pure mathematics, numerical and applied mathematics. He starts with pure mathematics in 1919, continues with a constant production of scientific works in pure mathematics, but from 1939 he publishes also articles on numerical and applied mathematics. Contribution in logic, set theorem. Contribution in physics, quantum mechanics. In computer science and in economics, game theory. Many books. He was author of many books. Here you can see the books of John von Neumann. Publications published by Princeton, Landmark, various publishers of that era, Princeton Landmarks, etc., etc. Citations. Citations. Now, according to Google Scholar, he has 146,000. Please, now you can see medical doctors with 200,000 or 300,000. In pure mathematics, it's very, very difficult to have these records. Pure mathematics are not medicine, okay? For example, for medical doctors, this is not a high score, but for pure mathematics, this is very, very high. Mathematics. He contributed in set theory, proof theory, ergodic theory, measure theory, group theory, functional analysis, operator algebras, lattice theory, mathematical statistics, and many things. Russell paradox. He contributed in Russell paradox. What is Russell paradox? I studied myself Russell paradox when I was student of the first year in the university, when I read the book, a book in topology by an author called Simmons. And now I remember this after so many years. Russell paradox says this: if, let's say that R is the set of all assets, the set of all assets that are not members of themselves. So R, according to Russell, is the set of all sets that are not members of themselves. So, if R is not a member of itself, then its definition involves that it is a member of itself. But if we consider that R is a member of itself, then it is not a member of itself, since it is the set of all sets that are not members of themselves. If you study a book, I don't know if you can find it on the web, Simon's General Topology and Functional Analysis, you can find a very nice discussion about Russell paradox. Who solved this paradox? Von Neumann. Von Neumann clarified why this paradox can be solved. How? Because he found two ways to exclude some sets from R. It is written here by Professor Rudas. Neumann, in his 97 paper, he wrote a paper in 1925 paper demonstrated two techniques to exclude sets that are sets of themselves. Don't ask me details, because I see now the transparencies of Professor Rudas. And not only this, but for theoretical mathematics, he sets these axioms. So not only one, not in set theory, theoretical set theory. I remind you this, we are here, set theory. You say that set theory is something very simple, sets, etc. Not so simple. Neumann and his collaborators provided 10 axioms. Proof theory, ergodic theory, Mizar theory, everything by Professor von Neumann, and not only mathematics, but also physics, quantum mechanics, von Neumann entropy, density matrix, von Neumann measurement scheme, quantum logic, fluid dynamics. Economics, game theory, mathematical economics, linear programming. In 1928, von Neumann published Theory of Parlor Games, a key paper in the field of game theory. Minimax theorem. With the best mixed strategy, the maximum expected gain of the first player is equal to the minimum of the expected loss of the second player. Game theory. Theorems for game theory. In 1944, he published a book, Theory of Games and Economics, Economic Behavior. You see that the big brains do not discriminate theoretical mathematics with applied mathematics. I have met many mathematicians in my life, and they say, I am pure mathematician. I don't pay attention for computer science. But don't tell me about electricity or chemistry. These things are very applied. Look, von Neumann was not only pure mathematician, but also practical computer science, economic contribution in economics, mathematical economics, linear programming, computer science. The theoretical base of computer science is due to von Neumann. Von Neumann stated how a computer should be. So the architecture that we have in the computers now is the architecture of von Neumann. Until now, von Neumann architecture, cellular automata, DNA and the universal constructor. Scientific, this DNA I don't understand. I don't understand this because DNA, maybe now DNA computing uses techniques of von Neumann. So, because when von Neumann died, DNA, we had not discovered DNA. DNA was discovered in 1960 something. Scientific computing and numerical analysis, weather systems and global warming, technological singularity hypothesis. Von Neumann told us how a computer must be, and we teach it to our students until now. A computer must have a CPU. The CPU is composed by control unit and logic unit. Interacts with memory, and of course we must have an input and an output. This is the infrastructure. This is the design, how a computer must be. But not only von Neumann did not take a pen and was drawing these things. No, he formulated these things theoretically with mathematics. Again, this is the architecture of a computer according von Neumann, and it is the architecture that we have in the computers until now. ENIAC was one of the first computers, and of course, you see here not small names, Oppenheimer, von Neumann, etc. Computer, okay. Defense. Like Alan Turing, I see many similarities with Alan Turing. Alan Turing was invited to solve the cryptographic technique of Enigma of Germans in the Second World War. And when we had war, these big brains make defense war. They are not only theoretical mathematicians, but when we need, they try to solve practical problems in the army, in the war, in the defense. And also von Neumann was involved in all these projects. Oppenheimer, the father of atomic bomb, invited von Neumann to Los Alamos in June of 1943. We will see that this is very bad thing for the life of von Neumann. We will see why in the next transparencies. Anyway, Oppenheimer invited von Neumann to Los Alamos. Of course, the first atomic bomb had they had some mathematical problems that should be solved, and Oppenheimer invited who else? Von Neumann. Details here about the trials of atomic bomb in Los Alamos. In Los Alamos at that time. And of course, von Neumann was all in these committees, etc., etc. Honors. A lot of honors and a lot of diplomas and a lot of academic positions. Presidential awards of the President of the United States. And now for von Neumann, we have medals now after his death. And also in Hungary, they have a computer society. They call it John von Neumann Computer Society. And von Neumann has a special relationship with Obuda University. And in Obuda University, our friend, Professor Imre Rudas, was rector. Now he's Professor Emeritus. This is the Obuda University. Unfortunately, the visit of and the collaboration in Los Alamos of von Neumann had very unpleasant results for his health, because he was exposed in nuclear radiation, and this nuclear radiation was the reason that he had a cancer in this bone, collarbone, in this bone. They discovered when he was 51 years old, a cancer was discovered. Of course, this is letters from Gödel. This is a letter of famous mathematician of Gödel, and he says that don't lose your hope. Medical discoveries will help you, and you will have complete recovery. Of course, they were only wishes, because the biggest mathematician of all era died on 8 February in 1957. Please don't thank me for this presentation. This material was given to me by Professor Rudas, and I want you to thank Professor Rudas, not me, Professor Rudas, for this very nice PDF that he sent to our conference, and we hope to have him next time and present more details about his about von Neumann. Yes, okay.